Tyson was thinking about buying a gym membership. There were only 3 gyms in the area where he lived. The first one was called Iron Muscles Gym. The second one was called Stronger You Gym. And the third one was called Fit for Life Gym. Now take a look inside all of them. Which one should he choose? Do you see the clean towels wardrobe inside the Stronger You Gym? They don't look clean at all. It's not the best option unless he loves germs. And take a closer look at the running mill inside the Fit for Life Gym. It's broken. That's an accident waiting to happen. So he should pick the Iron Muscles Gym. Ellie and Ollie were looking for a nice hotel to spend their vacation together with their puppy. After checking out some places online, they brought down their options to 3. Take a look at the website of each of them. Which one should they pick? Do you notice the small stock photo sign on the photos of the first hotel's website? That can only mean they are scamming people. The second hotel seems like a good option since it's a 5-star one. But do you see the small sign on the website that says, "No pets allowed"? They can't go there with their puppy, so they should stay at the third hotel. James and Jonathan went camping in the woods. As they were searching for the perfect place to set their tents, they came across a river that only had one bridge to cross to the other side. However, as soon as they stepped on it, a troll appeared in front of them and said, "I'll only let you pass if you answer my riddle. Until I am measured, I am not known. Yet how you miss me when I have flown. What am I?" The answer is time. Hillary was sitting in her hotel room when someone knocked on her door. She opened it and saw a man whom she had never seen before. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have made a mistake. I thought this was my room." He then walked back to the elevator. Hillary immediately locked the door after him and called hotel security. What do you think made her so suspicious? Nobody knocks on their own hotel door, but the man did that. Captain Bluebeard was traveling the sea with his crew. At one time during their voyage, 2 of his sailors were standing on opposite sides of the ship. One of them was looking west, and the other one was looking east. But at the same time, they could see each other clearly as well. How was that possible? The sailors had their backs against either ends of the ship. Newton and Curie were 2 history professors from Planet Q. To complete their planet Earth research, they had to explore a place the Earthlings used to call a school. There, they found a piece of paper with a handwritten number on it, but couldn't come to an agreement about what the number was. Newton was saying it was 6, and Curie was saying it was 9. Who was correct? Do you see this teeny tiny dot here? That can only mean the number is 9. So, Curie is right.
Yeah.
The Foggy Mountains region of the Kingdom of Endolia was occupied by the most vicious dragon. The king called Knight Samuel to go on a quest to defeat it and take all the gold it stole from the people back.
Yeah.
So, Knight Samuel hopped on his horse and reached the mountains after a long journey. Once the dragon saw him, it said if Knight Samuel knew all 3 of its riddles correctly, it would leave the mountains as well as all the gold. The first one was, "Soft and fragile is my skin, I get my growth in mud. I'm dangerous as much as pretty, for if not careful, I draw blood. What am I?" It's a thorn. "You're a clever one, Knight Samuel," the dragon said. "Here's my second riddle. I am a box that holds keys without locks, yet they can unlock your soul. What am I?" The answer is a piano. I have only one riddle left for you, but be very careful. If you can't answer it correctly, this kingdom shall be mine. When you went into the woods, you got me. You hated me, yet you wanted to find me. You went home with me because you couldn't find me. What was it? The answer is a splinter. Annie forgot her computer in her dorm room, but she urgently needed to use one to submit her school paper. Her mom had a laptop in the study room, but it was password protected. However, she was easily able to figure out the password. How did she do it? Take a closer look at the bookcase inside the room. Some of the books have letters instead of their titles on the side labels. This book has the letter A, this one has N, another N here, there's an I on this book's label, and this one has an E. So the password is Annie. Professor Guillermo was the headmaster of the Academy for Superheroes. He was also responsible for holding examinations to select new students for the Academy. There were only 3 students left who successfully made it to the last part of this year's exam. To pass it, they all needed to show Professor Guillermo their special power. The first student's power was going invisible. The second student could make objects fly. And the third student could bend metal with her mind. However, Professor Guillermo realized that one of them was an impostor. Which one is it? Take a closer look at the object that the second student is levitating. Do you see the small on-off button here? That can only mean it's actually some tech device that can fly on its own. So he is the imposter. Jane was competing at Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? And she was only one question away from the $1 billion prize. The question was, it's true, I bring serenity and hang around the stars, but yet I live in misery, you'll find me behind bars. With thieves and villains I consort, in prison I'll be found, but I would never go to court unless there's more than one. What am I? It's the letter S. Dylan was going to buy a new car. The salesman showed him 3 options. Which one should he choose? Take a look at the side door of the first car. The paint on here is chipped. It's not wise to get a car that's already damaged. The third car's left tire rim is cracked. This one is also a pass. So he should get the second car. Oh, yeah. Catherine has 4 daughters, and each of her daughters has a brother. How many children in total does Catherine have? Each daughter has the one and the same brother, so she has 5 kids. Rachel and Ashley were best friends, but one of them was living in Japan, and the other in the United States. Rachel had purchased a BFF bracelet for Ashley and wanted to mail it to her. However, the only way to make sure the bracelet would be received was to place a lock on the package. Rachel had locks and Ashley had locks, but neither had keys for each other's locks. How can they ensure the bracelet isn't stolen? Rachel should place a lock on the package and send it to Ashley. Ashley then should place one of her locks on the package and send it back to Rachel. Rachel removes her lock and sends the package back to Ashley. Marla goes to the grocery store and buys 1 dozen eggs. As she's going home, all but 3 eggs break. How many eggs are left unbroken? The answer is hidden in the question. She has 3 eggs left.
Look at this picture. Where is the bank robber hiding? He's over there, behind the bushes. The bank robber has managed to escape from the police. Try to figure out where he's hiding now. See that maintenance hole? That's where the criminal is. This robber is just too fast. He's escaped again and is now hiding in one of these fitting rooms. Help the police find him. He must be in the middle fitting room. See that bag with all the cash he's stolen? Look at this image attentively and try to figure out what's wrong here. In reality, the guy is holding a tube of toothpaste in his left hand, but in the reflection in the mirror, he's got nothing in his hand. How about this picture? What's wrong here? Is this lady charging her cat? This picture looks off too, but what exactly seems strange? It's the girl in the front. She isn't reflected in the water. Now the next image to challenge your observation skills. Does anything strike you as odd in this picture? Look at the TVs. They show different things in reality and in the reflection in the mirror. Can you figure out what this means? Right you are! F plus arm equals farm. Now this one is a tiny bit tougher. What does this rebus mean? Storm, TH. It's thunderstorm. And how about this one? Can you crack it easily? Re plus boot equals reboot. Ew, insects! But can you guess this word? How many ants are there? 10. So the correct answer is 10 plus ants equals 10 ants. I have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, but I'm not alive. What am I? I'm a pair of gloves. Which person is different from the others? Right you are, this one with shorter hair. Try to figure out which emoji is the odd one. The one at the bottom. It looks pretty angry. I challenge you to find a cat that's different from the rest. Right! It's the one closer to the bottom, facing away from you. Which image is the odd one? This little rebel is turned in the opposite direction. Have you noticed anything wrong in this picture? The ball. They're playing soccer, not basketball. Which cow is different from the others? The one waving at you, of course. How about these burgers? Do any of them stand out? See, this burger is smaller than the rest. There's something wrong with this picture. What exactly? It's the river. It seems to just disappear under the bridge. Is there a hole in the ground there? Which emoji is the odd one? The one with its mouth missing. There's something that doesn't seem quite right in this picture. But what? The rainbow. Its colors are a bit messed up. Can you find a pig among these birdies? Here it is, hiding behind the bush. Which emoji is different from the others? It's the unwinking one, with both of its eyes open. These smiley faces look so cool, all but one. This emoji isn't exactly all that smiley. There's something wrong with this keyboard. Can you figure out what exactly? There are 2 8s on it, but no 9s. Which pooch is the odd one? This doggy seems to be friendlier than the rest. Find the odd avocado. Right, it's the one with the heart-shaped pit. Which emoji is different from the others? This little guy is just a wannabe. It isn't a unicorn. It's a horse that's probably dreaming of becoming a unicorn. Can you find the odd emoji? The one at the bottom seems to be even more in love than the rest. The hearts in its eyes are bigger than what other emojis have. One of these music notes is different. Which one? Ah, now I see it. What's wrong with this picture? The calendar claims it's August 2018, but the computer is sure it's still August 2017. Can you spot a teddy bear without a hat? Here it is! There's something strange about this picture, but what exactly? One of the birds doesn't have a reflection. Creepy. Which sheep couple is different from the others? This one. The lady sheep is facing away from her admirer. Amy was walking through a forest and saw 3 portals in front of her. Each could take her to a different place. The first one would send her to the moon. The second portal would move her to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. And the last one would take her 30,000 years back, when large dinosaurs were still roaming our planet. Which portal should she choose to survive? The third one. Dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. Amy will be safe there. John was looking for a gift for his mom at a shopping mall when he noticed that one of the stores had a mysterious extension. It led to a vault filled with diamonds and gold jewelry. As soon as the guy walked in, the store owner locked him in the room. He told John he had to eat one of the 3 cookies on the table and manage to get out of the room. Then he'll be rewarded generously. The first cookie would turn John into an animal. The second cookie would turn him into a giant. And the last one would make him invisible. Which cookie should John eat? The first one. He can turn into some small animal, like a hamster, and squeeze through the bars. That's how he'd get out and win the gold. Mr. Lawrence called the police. He said someone had taken his car for a joyride, crashed it into a streetlight, and ran away. The man was sure it had been one of his neighbors. The police questioned 3 of them. Ivy answered she'd been at work and arrived home only in the evening. Cameron told the police he'd been helping his dad remove old stuff from the attic. And Aaron claimed he'd been hanging out with his friends, eating pizza, and watching the latest series. After listening to all the suspects, the police officers arrested one of them. Who was it? It was Cameron. There's no attic in his house. He invented the whole story. Naomi invited her friends to a pajama party at her house. The only thing she asked the girls was, "Don't enter my brother's room. He loves playing tricks on people. And once you get there, you might not be able to get out." They were gossiping and watching viral TikTok videos when one of Naomi's friends asked, "Wait, where's Rebecca?" Meanwhile, Rebecca went to the kitchen to drink some water, but she got lost and ended up in Naomi's brother's room. The door closed behind her back, and it wouldn't open. The girl noticed a password lock with letters on it. Rebecca looked around and spotted a piece of paper on the table with 5 numbers on it: 3, 7, 6, 9, 2. The girl thought for a while, then entered a combination of letters and got out of the room. What was the password? The code was the first letters of the 5 numbers, TSSNT. An expensive ring went missing from a jewelry store on the first floor of a large shopping mall. The manager called the police. After watching the CCTV camera footage, they had 3 suspects: a student, a woman with a daughter, and an elderly man. The student said he had agreed to meet with his friend next to the jewelry store. "I didn't even set foot inside," the woman said. "I was at the movies with my daughter here in the mall when everything happened." The elderly man said, "Yes, I did enter the store. I felt unwell and asked for a glass of water, but I didn't take the ring." Who's lying? Look, all the movies running at that time had a 16+ age rating. The woman wouldn't have been able to watch any of them with her young daughter, so she must have lied.
You know, scientists claim that the way your brain perceives and analyzes information can reveal a lot about your personality. Look at each of these optical illusions for a couple of seconds. What you see first can say a lot about who you are. Number 1. If the first thing you saw was a tree, you tend to pay too much attention to details, but you're great at feeling the mood of other people. It makes you a tactful and empathetic person. And if you spotted a couple facing each other, you're logical, calm, and rational. You know how to reason with people, even when they're upset or nervous. Number 2. If you saw a car in this picture, you treasure your freedom. You like it when things go according to your plan. That's why it's often hard for you to make fast decisions. If you thought it was a man holding binoculars, you don't usually pay too much attention to details. Instead, you focus on the big picture. But maybe you notice the letter A first. Then you have a rare ability to spot things other people miss. You're extremely intuitive and can think outside the box. Número 3. If the first thing you see in the picture is 2 thumbs, you're a great leader and an excellent organizer. You're ready to take responsibility, and you understand what consequences your actions will have. And if you spotted an eruption, you have an altruistic personality. You're interested in people and want to help them. And here's number 4. If it's a monkey you notice first, that's my picture. No, actually, you're an independent person. It's crucial for you to have some personal space. If you saw a tiger, you don't mind taking risks. You believe nothing is impossible if you try hard enough. 5. If the first thing you saw was several trees in front of a sunset, you're very perceptive and easygoing. If you spotted a feline's face, you're a determined person. You always stick to the decisions you make and move towards your goal no matter what. 6. If the first thing you noticed in this image was an outline of a face, you're likely to be an introvert. You don't like noisy parties. They make you feel worn out, both physically and emotionally. If you saw a saxophonist, you're more extroverted. You love socializing, and people fall all over themselves to make friends with you. But remember to rest and not to burn out. 7. If you only saw some nature in this image, your life is full of different events at the moment. You don't like routine, choosing to mix up your activities. This way, you'll never do the same stuff several days in a row. If you noticed a face hidden in this image, it's facing the bottom of the frame. You're an organized person. You find it hard to live without a plan. It makes you feel unsafe. 8. If you saw zebras more clearly, you love talking and enjoy being surrounded by people. Making new acquaintances is your hobby. You don't like following boring routines. If it was a lion that stood out in the image, you prefer a calmer lifestyle. You'd rather spend some quality time with your few trusted friends and your family. Having too many people around drains your energy, which makes you avoid crowded places. 9. If you saw a face in this image, you're approachable and laid back. People feel that you care. That's why they often unload their problems on you. But maybe the first thing you paid attention to was someone waving a magic wand at a kneeling figure. Then you're an ambitious person. Whatever you do, you gotta do it better than others. 10. If it was a cat that stood out in the image, you probably don't like changes. People know they can rely on you. At the same time, you tend to keep your feelings and emotions in check. If you saw a face, you're a creative person. You love learning new things, and your intuition helps you find opportunities literally everywhere. If the first thing that jumped out at you was a cliff, you can tackle pretty much any problem, all thanks to your positive outlook on life. Number 11. Is it a large, serious cat in the image? Then you're a realist when it comes to life. You see the big picture, and it helps you deal with problems. But if it's a mouse that caught your attention, you're an optimist. You try to find something positive in any situation, and in most cases, you succeed. 12. If you saw a woman's face in this picture, you often rely on your intuition, and it doesn't usually let you down. You're also attentive to what's happening in the world around you. But what if you focused on flowers? Then you're someone who often feels the need to slow down and relax in nature. 13. If a cute round face was what you noticed first, you're a sensitive and friendly person. You don't like conflicts and try to deal with disagreements in a peaceful way. If you paid attention to 2 birds, you're cheerful and outgoing. You love meeting new people. 14. If you saw an elephant, you're loyal to your friends and respectful to your family. People like your friendly and considerate personality. They also appreciate what a great listener you are. If you paid attention to a small village, you're quite traditional. You prefer a peaceful and simple lifestyle over a city bustle. 15. If it was the pillars that attracted your attention, you value comfort and security. It can be hard for you to break out of your comfort zone. If the image of two people popped out at you, your life is never dull. Curious and adventurous, you're ready to change your surroundings at the drop of a hat. So, somebody drop a hat. Whoops, there you go. 16. If you noticed a woman first, you have an analytical and thoughtful mind. You tend to be practical, which some people mistake for being cold-hearted. If you first saw an old man, you have a sensitive and compassionate personality. You're also creative and artistic. 17. Did you see two crocodiles facing each other? Then you always try to be in control of every situation in your life. If you noticed a bird first, you don't mind following instructions coming from other people. It doesn't mean you don't have your own opinion, but you're always ready to find a middle ground. 18. If you paid attention to a lady's face first, your brain's right hemisphere is developed better than the left one. You're an artistic person with high emotional intelligence. And if you saw a man playing the saxophone, your left brain. Logic is your strong suit. You excel at analytical thinking and numbers. 19. If you first spotted a crocodile, you're likely quite practical and prefer to avoid risks. Sometimes you tend to focus on negative things happening around you, so don't forget to relax and enjoy life. If you noticed a boat with two people in it sailing along the river, you have a great eye for details. You have a creative personality and can find a way out of any tricky situation. 20. If you saw a young woman, you have a joyful and optimistic personality. You perceive things in a positive light, but sometimes you can be too impulsive. If you noticed an old woman first, you have a lot of life experience. It helps you look at all situations from various perspectives. 21. Did you spot a duck first? Quack. Then you're a highly intuitive, creative type with a rich imagination. If the first thing you noticed was a rabbit, you have outstanding analytical skills. You must be great at writing, reading, and figuring out logical solutions to all kinds of problems. 22. If you saw a squirrel, you're great at analyzing things. Your logical thinking helps you process facts and find solutions amazingly fast. If what jumped out at you at first was a duck, your talents are more on the creative side of things. 23. Most people spot a frog in this image right away. If you're one of them, you're self-confident and thus relaxed. You communicate with others in a direct, honest, and sincere way. And if you saw a horse, you're always trying to get to the deeper meaning of things. You have your own opinion, and nothing people say can sway it. 24. If it was a candlestick that attracted your attention first, you usually see a situation as a whole. Only after figuring out the big picture, you spring into action. And if you notice two faces first, you have the ability to concentrate on details. It's extremely important for you to surround yourself with positive people and get their support. Wow, you'll have 5 seconds for each of the illusions. Get ready for your mind to be bent. Can you tell which of the 2 yellow lines is longer? Seems obvious to me. Oh wow, I was wrong. None of them is longer. They are exactly the same length. This is a Ponzo illusion, not a Ponzi scheme. Your brain judges an object's size based on its background. Here, your brain decides the upper line that's further away has to be longer to catch up with the line that's closer. Here's another one for you. Do you think these lines are parallel to each other? Yep, they perfectly are. Again, your brain judges them based on their surroundings. All those short intersecting lines make you believe the longer lines are messed up. What about the red lines in this image? Are they straight or curved? This is the herring illusion. The seemingly curved lines are perfectly straight and parallel to each other. The background makes you think otherwise. How many colors can you see here? Did you get red, purple, and green? In that case, you're all wrong. If you zoom in on this illustration, you can see all the spheres are of the same color. The stripes in the foreground make you believe the spheres are of different colors too. If you remove that foreground from the image, you'll see all the spheres are beige. Welcome to Ames' room. Nothing is impossible here. Which of these two people do you think is larger? An Ames room only seems to be a normal rectangular construction. It has slanted walls and an inclining ceiling and floor. The right corner is closer to you than the left corner. Your brain is used to rectangular rooms, so it corrects the image for you. The room seems normal, and the people inside seem weird. How many prongs do you think this trident has? The correct number is 3. Nah, just kidding. That would be too obvious. The empty space between the prisms forms the central prong. Take a closer look at the top of the prongs. There are just 2 openings. Can you tell what animal is hiding here? The secret here is to shake your head back and forth, or you can zoom out on the image. When you see the tiny version of it, it's obvious there's a cat hiding behind all those lines. Now, focus on one point of this image for at least 15 seconds. Don't think of anything else, just keep looking. Can you see the image disappearing? It happens because the neurons in your brain filter information. They decide what's essential and what's useless. When you focus on one point, your brain receives no new information. Your peripheral vision takes new data from the surrounding white background and adapts the graphic to it. Here's the next illusion for you. Can you tell if the circles are moving or standing still? This image isn't animated. It's an example of a peripheral drift illusion that makes you see still images as moving ones. When you stare at one part of the image without blinking, that part stops moving. Can you count all the black dots in this image? Three, 4, 6? There are 12 of them, but you can't see them all at once. That's because your peripheral vision fails you at tasks like this. What do you see in this image? If you're sure there are some lines and a light blue circle in the middle, you're wrong. The background is entirely white. You see the non-existent light blue circle because your brain adds color into the bare negative spaces. What about this one? What colors are these funky shapes? Just like in the previous illusion, they're all empty and white. That's a watercolor illusion. Your brain fills in the shape that has a bright line and a darker line at its borders with a brighter color. Now, can you tell if this image is 3D? It's perfectly flat. The white shade in the middle creates the bulge effect. If you move closer, you'll notice it spread its luminance. The task here is simple. Follow this spiral from the beginning to the end. Gotcha! You can't do it, because this spiral isn't a spiral. It's made up of concentric circles. Your brain fills in the gaps for you because it's confused by this crazy background. Can you tell which rectangles are darker? Believe it or not, the rectangles under columns A and B are the exact same color. The surrounding black and white bars make you believe column A is way darker. Can you find the right shadow for this fun couple? No, it's this one. Only one of the locks is unlocked. Can you spot it in 5 seconds? Good job! This drawing is missing one piece. Pick the right one out of the 3 possible options. Well done! There's a little mouse hiding somewhere between the mushrooms. Your task is to find it. There it is, cute little thing. One of these jellyfish can't swim because it's an air balloon. Can you see it? Well, it does look a lot like a jellyfish. What's that chirping? All birds but one are having a chat. One of them doesn't speak their language. It's a snail right here. I'd love to have some coffee. Please help me find it. Yay, it was hiding here all the time. All penguins look alike, but one is more special than the others. Can you spot it? This little guy right here has slightly different eyes. Let's take it one level up. Can you find the odd one out here? You could be a detective with your sharp eyes. One of these plants is slightly different from the others. You have 5 seconds to find it. Here it is. All these moons must produce a lot of light. Pick the odd one out. I knew it. How about a little safari? The zebra on the right is different from its pal on the left in 5 ways. Can you name them all? I only found 3 differences. Oh, now I see. How about these lions? Again, there are 5 not-so-obvious differences between them. Did you get them all? What about these antelopes? Oh, I didn't see the red nose. What a beautiful and peaceful landscape. It's different from the one on the left in 5 ways. Name them all. Well done! Here are 2 scenes from a busy city life for you. The task remains the same. I only managed to find 3 differences here. Let's go see some waterfalls. Something is wrong with the second image. I got it. What about you? The fall is my favorite season. Can you notice 5 ways these pictures don't match? Fantastic! It's beach time, but you can't relax until you find 5 differences here. Well, enjoy your well-deserved rest. Alright, enough. Moving on. What you see in the next images can tell a lot about your personality. Let's start with this one. If it's a woman reading a book to you, you're a practical and goal-oriented person. You work a lot. You're great at planning and know how to keep your emotions under control. Those who notice Salvador Dali's face, first of all, are artists at heart. Even if your job doesn't have to do with creativity, you find your own ways to express yourself through drawing, writing, or music. If you noticed an armchair first, you never look for easy and obvious solutions in your life. You always surprise everyone else with your unique vision of the world. How about this one? What do you see here? If they're women with umbrellas to you, you've plenty of friends because you're open-minded and mix with new people easily. You enjoy spending time surrounded by others and share everything with them. If it's a sad man's face to you, you're wise beyond your years. Sometimes you need to stop and think about life. At these moments, you prefer to be alone. You don't have that many friends, but you're loyal and always ready to help them. Alright, what can you say about this image? If it's a man sitting down by the water to you, you must be smart and careful with what you do and what you say. You always think twice before making an important decision and rarely regret anything you've done. If you see a face here, you're more emotional than rational. You'll always pick a new and unknown path and never think for too long when you have to make a decision. It's easy to make you cry or smile, but you get over things quickly as well. Here's another illusion for you. If it looks like a couple of playful squirrels to you, you must be a natural explorer. You don't feel happy staying in one place and are always the first to try new things and visit new places. You're active, charismatic, and fun to be around. If you clearly see a woman's face here, you prefer to stick to the plan and don't like surprises. You're a natural leader and great at delegating tasks to others. They respect you and follow your lead. What about this one? If it looks like a lifeless forested area to you, you're most likely better at sciences than at arts. You can fix any gadget or at least carefully follow the instructions to one of those. Your mind is a well-organized chamber. If you instantly saw animals here, you must be into arts and creativity. You don't even know manuals exist. You like to live in the moment and always listen to your heart. The town's modern art museum has just been robbed. A priceless painting from top-notch artist Floyd B. has gone missing overnight. The museum's manager called Detective Pressfield to help. As soon as he arrived at the museum, he asked to see the security footage of the previous night. He identified 3 suspicious individuals staring at the painting for longer than usual. The first person, wearing a blue jacket, entered through the museum's front entrance. The security camera caught her staring at the painting from several angles, like she was measuring it. The second person, wearing a red hat, left the museum through the side exit, which is pretty suspicious. And the last person, who was wearing a black face mask, spent a long time looking at the museum's ceiling, trying to identify where the security cameras were located. Take a look at the footage. Can you guess who's the most likely thief? It's the last person. I mean, he was wearing a mask and spent hours trying to identify the security cameras. After that, there was no footage anymore. So that probably means he was successful at leaving the museum with the priceless painting. Samantha and Joanna were stuck at Blue Ridge's airport security line. A security guard found both of them suspicious and asked them to wait while he analyzed the X-ray footage. Take a look at both women. Who do you think is really hiding something? Well, Samantha has a suspicious face, but she probably just wants to go to the bathroom or something. Now, Joanna is definitely hiding something under her skirt. If she had really been pregnant, she would have used the preferential line. And look how much she's sweating. She's probably nervous she'll get caught. Detective Sharon's office was called to investigate a series of mysterious break-ins happening in a fancy neighborhood. At each crime scene, the robber would leave the word "closer" sprayed in graffiti on a nearby wall. The first place to be robbed was Mrs. Moore's cafe. Then the criminal's next target was the town's library. After a week, the thief had left his mark in a fancy office building, a supermarket, and a restaurant. It took Detective Sharon a while, but she soon understood there was a pattern to the break-ins, and she was even able to predict what the next break-in would be. Can you figure out what it was? The thief was pretty clever for sure. The first letter of each of the locations the thief entered spelled out the word "closer." Since the last location to be robbed was a restaurant, the next place would start with C, restarting the cycle. Most likely, the neighborhood's community center. In the East Valley, there's a beautiful old kingdom known as Piatra. One of the town's most precious symbols is a valuable jewel that is always displayed during the city's festivities. This year, during the last celebration, something tragic happened. The town's jewel went missing. The king was devastated and mad that such an ancient artifact had been stolen. He soon called the kingdom's official investigator to help figure out who had possibly stolen the jewel. The culprit would have to be proclaimed responsible for their theft in front of the entire kingdom. There were many people at the festivity, but the investigator narrowed the suspects down to 4 people. Amelia said she saw something strange after the bard's presentation. She saw that Benjamin had picked up the jewel and handed it to Carol. But Ben said he didn't go anywhere near the jewel because he had been working on one of the stalls during the fair. Carol said she did go near the jewel, but she had only admired it from up close. And Daniel said that he could swear seeing Carol carrying the jewel, but he didn't see her take it. Based on the testimonies, the investigator had no trouble figuring out who the culprit was. Can you figure it out as well? It was Carol. Almost everyone thought she was involved in the crime. And plus, if you zoom in on her bag, you'll see something pointing. Sure looks like a jewel, doesn't it? The town's only DVD rental shop suffered a robbery last night. The store's owner called the police station to report the crime. The detective almost couldn't believe what he was hearing. After all, why would someone steal a DVD when there are so many streaming channels nowadays? The detective asked to see the footage from the security camera and identified 3 main suspects. Sarah was a middle-aged woman. She said she still owned a DVD player and preferred to watch movies the old way, so she regularly rented from the store. Alex was a recently retired movie director, and one of his favorite pastimes was going to the store. He said he hadn't noticed anything strange the day before, except for a random teenager that walked inside. David was in his teens, and he spent hours in the shop by himself. He said he was doing research for school, but swears he didn't take anything. Can you tell who did it? It was David. The security footage caught him in the R-rated section of the store. He must have stolen the DVD, thinking the store owner wouldn't sell it to him. There's an old museum that only displays ancient Egyptian artifacts. One day, Susan, an anthropology student, went to the museum in order to study some of the art on display. She went into a room full of things, such as necklaces, bracelets, and earrings. She photographed every detail she thought was important for her research, when something caught her eye. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out what it was? Look at those earrings. They look completely fake. Plus, they have a tiny price tag attached to them. The original earrings were definitely missing. Susan reported the crime to the museum's manager. The manager immediately informed the museum security and opened an investigation. Susan was on the initial suspect list, but after checking the museum's security footage, she was let go. Museum security identified 3 main suspects: one of the museum's guards, one of the students from the museum's archaeology school, and a visitor. The visitor said he had only popped in for a quick visit. He said he had seen the earrings, but they looked pretty original to him. The security guard said he hadn't seen anything strange going the last few days. Everything was as it should be. And the students said they had studied the earring in a class, but they never got the chance to see it before it was stolen. Soon enough, museum security found the culprit. Can you tell who it was? It was the visitor. When security went to investigate the suspects, They never mentioned that the original earring had been exchanged by fake ones. The fact that he knew there was an original version means that he was the one that swapped them. Yikes. Maya was working on her latest artwork, which was commissioned by a high-end gallery in town. Suddenly, all the lights in her studio went out, and since it was nighttime, she was left completely in the dark. She heard footsteps approaching the studio door, and the next thing she knew, she was feeling dizzy. Maya passed out and woke up in a tiny room that had nothing other than a metallic door. She tried to open the door, but it was locked. That's when she noticed that beside the door, there was a little device where a red sign appeared asking for a password. Below the device, there was a piece of paper with the following hint: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It took a while for her to understand what this meant. She read the note aloud several times before she finally figured out what the password was. Can you guess what password she typed into the device? Here's how it works. Maya had to type 1 time the number 2, 3 times the number 4, 5 times the number 6, and 7 times the number 8. Reading it aloud was the key to solve this problem. Whew,